Hey up everybody, welcome back. Well, I had so many and so quick a series of comments on the last topper video that I thought I'd deal with a couple of points that everybody mentioned in another one. So that is getting this thing off here and seeing what this transmission is actually all about, and also the swinging arm, because I had a couple of people mention that they'd sort of dealt with similarly constructed things before and that they will stretch out, and as I mentioned in my replies, I can't make it any worse, so we'll have a go at straightening that. So first of all, we'll do this. I see we've had some more subscribers, so hello, welcome to you, and hope you're going to enjoy the videos. Now, one thing, I realised what those 3 ball bearings were. I thought about it a bit, and also a couple of other people who watch were like me. They must have run off straight away and googled Topper transmission, because we all came up with the same website, the Topper Owners Club, which had a diagram, which for some reason you couldn't make any bigger, that showed this wet clutch. Apparently the earlier one was not clutch, wet transmission. The earlier one was dry. But I'm thinking about it, it suddenly struck me what the 3 balls were. It's a centrifugal drive. So we have the springs normally holding it pushed in, and those 3 balls are on ramps. So the faster this spins, the balls roll out the ramps. Well, they don't roll, but they're forced out the ramps. So they force this part and the back part apart. So they make the thing bigger. And then when it slows down, they come back into their ramps because those springs exert the pressure to push them back and to pull the 2 halves together. So that explains that and why there are 3 big balls in there. So I've looked closely at this, and there are cutouts, and from the diagram this definitely is one unit. It comes off that shaft, so it must pull off there. So what we're going to do is we're going to risk a little bit of heat on there while it's under pressure and see if we can't get this pulled off, and then we'll take this broken stud out. Oh, there was a comment on that. Yeah, my next plan was to weld the nut on there so that I could get it out, because it seems to be just screwed into a boss into this part at the back. We'll get that out, make a brand spanky new one of them, and then the other thing that was mentioned was the oil seals. And I was planning to change the oil seals once I got everything off, but I was taking things off and putting them back on because I really wanted to find out about that noise. When I first started to turn it and we heard that noise, that was nasty. So I put the electricals on the other side just so I can make sure it was that screw that was catching. So we'll take both sides off, and going to see if we can find a couple of oil seals. Fortunately with oil seals, they tend to be, you know, just a given size. An oil seal's an oil seal's an oil seal. It always amuses me on eBay when you see people advertising things like a Royal Enfield chain, well, or a spark plug for Royal Enfields. Anyway, enough blathering. Let's get the propane torch, and we'll heat this up with the puller on and see if we can't get this side off. I've got just a little bit of pressure on the puller. So I'm hoping with this this piece here being an alloy, it'll expand out nicely, and that should pull off. Oh, look, there's a screw. Not a screw, a spring of some kind in there. These little cups off. Come on. Of course everything's hot now. You see if I can bring you in and show you this. Can you see that there? There's like a... You see? There, it looks just like a spring. A coil, you know, several coiled... That's weird. I'd better investigate this because... Who knows? No, that slides on that. Anyway, let me look at it for a minute before I break something. Curiouser and curiouser. This is what was in there, look. It's a set of 3 sort of sprung steel things. Almost like leaf springs, only all the way around. And when I pulled them off, there was a ball in there. So it's like a detente ball on that, where those screws are, those threaded rods are. Let me swing you up to show you what I mean. There. There's a hole at the back and there's a ball in it, and when I took the springs off, out came the ball. So I presume there's one in each of those 3 things. So let me take them off and maybe then this will actually pull off easily. Right, I've got them all off, and one of them, actually this was the inner spring. It was broken. God knows how I'm going to get these things back on there. They're really strange. So let's see if we can use the puller now. Here we go. Nope, that doesn't seem to have made any difference at all. Oh. Bugger! Let me keep looking. Right, now I've had Steam Shop Dave round, and he used to do roll-cons and things like that, and he tells me that this is almost certainly got a taper as well as the splines. So he recommended plenty of heat. So if this all breaks apart and gets completely destroyed, it's his fault. Also, I've used map gas, which is a bit hotter, and if it is on a taper, we might be able to jar it free. Bugger! I don't like this at all. Not budged a fraction. Right, we'll leave that under tension. Very often, well not very often, but quite often, they'll just come away. So let's go and look at something else. So let's see what we can do with this. Now, as we know, this is twisted. The only place I can find to hold it in the vise where I've got sort of 2 parallel sides, because you can see everything else tapers, is this here. So what I'm going to do is clamp it in the vise and see if we can twist it round. So let's get it clamped up. Now then, what we need to do, this is twisted this way, so we're going to heat this tube up here and twist it back that using a great big pair of these supplied by Steam Shop, which is actually why I came round, so I can borrow them. So I'm going to heat this up and see what happens. Oh, that does not want. No, in fact we bent this a little bit, that'll have to be straightened out. Oh my God. Phew. I think I'm going to have to heat this up to red and the other cross tube. Okay, just like with the other bit of heating up, I'm probably going to speed this film up. Yeah, nothing. Let's take a break. Now then, probably the main reason that was a bit of a failure was because I didn't have a way to grip this and have a sort of good solid stop against which I was pulling. So I thought about it. What I've done is there was a pardon me, a bushing through the pivot. So I put a rod in through the pivot's tube. And this, by putting it in the vise this way, you can see that's up against the vise. So this here is pressing on the vise there. Those are pressing on the vise there. It can't go anywhere, even though it's not clamped in because everything's such a weird shape. See, it's still loose. But these are under the way this curves here. They're under there. So I can pull on that to my heart's content. So I got a little bit of this to pull with. Give me a little bit of extension. But then I thought, hang on, I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. God, there we go. I was saying, I got a piece to go on there to give me an extension to pull. But doing it that way, the pressure would be on this corner here. So what I've done is I've got a little piece to go in there to stop that squashing in. So that'll go in there. The box will go on like that. And we can give it a good pull and pull this one down. And because it's not actually clamped anywhere, this should be able to move. I'm showing you the bottom now. Oh, crikey Mick, hang on. I'm making the video longer than it needs to be because I have to keep showing you stuff twice. So now I've got it solidly mounted as far as the forces we're going to put on it down at the bottom, but as I say, it's not actually clamped up, so it should be able to twist as a whole. Hopefully by heating the bottom up and getting it more amenable to moving, we're going to be able to reproduce the twisted action but in the opposite direction. These are what is known in the trade as famous last words. So let's put you in a safe spot, start heating that tube up and this tube up and see if we can't pull that end round and get ourselves where we should be. Guess what? It's raining. Right, I've got this set up as I just explained to you in here. I've also put a little block under this side to raise this up so it's not actually pressed against the vise, because there was virtually no space for this to move to get us right. Now, I don't hold out a lot of hopes that this is going to work because we have the two tubes. I think what I'm going to have to do is cut this tube, heat that up, twist it, and then I can heat this up and bend it back to where it should be and weld it up. But we'll give this a go. Yeah, that's not budging at all. That's just as twisted as it was. So, I'm going to cut through this close to here, and heat that up and twist it, and then we'll weld that up. Now isn't that interesting? As soon as I sawed through this, it jammed the blade, and look, sawed the other bit from the back side. This is immediately sprung out of line, so I guess it's going to be a little bit easier to get this done. So let's see what we can do. Alright, why didn't any of you bright sparks think of this? Just out of interest, I put it back on its blocks, and once that was released there, it's just sprung back to where it should be. It seems to be. I'll make some more measurements, but everything seems to be, they're both touching down at the same time. And if I pull this part back to line with this part, I'm parallel with the bottom one. So I'll do some measurements. It looks as if all I have to do is put a saw cut in it. So let's see what happens. I thought I'd put the wheel in to see what this is like. So I've got it up. And I haven't rested it on any of the frame, just in case that's, you know, slightly worn. So this is resting on what would be the spindle that goes through there, the actual pivot point. And as you can see from the tyre, which is clapped out anyway, it's pretty close from that. And I hope you're going to be able to read these on this. So we're level on the spindle going through. So the sprocket should be roughly at right angles. Well, it should be exactly at right angles, but it's, you know, it's old, it's worn. So we're half a degree. Half a degree on a Harley topper. I don't think it's worth working on and on and on. So I'll weld this up and we'll call that job done. Now this is some time later, in fact a couple of days later. I've been soaking this thing and I've just been heating it up again. In fact, I don't know if you can see, there's some smoke coming off it. And it just won't budge. Now on the website, the Topper Club, where they had the exploded view of this actual transmission, I looked at the picture of the crank. And there isn't a taper on it. Without all this on, this crank is just straight and then splined on the end, and on the straight part there's a keyway. So I have no idea why this won't come off. We'll just keep working at it, but obviously I'm not going to postpone finishing the video just because this is going to take me another week of heating and soaking and whatever. So that's going to be it for the topper. At least we got that swinging arm done. I couldn't believe it when I sawed through that and it just sprang back into shape. So that's enough for the topper for now. Next video we're going to be doing the exhausts on Frankie's Monster. But now for something completely different. Now you'll notice I'm sitting down again, and that's because I've just recovered from spending all that money on the stainless steel tube for the exhausts, and then I went up to Canada for a couple of days. It's only a couple of hours away from us, and I spent even more money. And here is what I bought. I feel a new project coming on.